Hey, Tom here, Flip Anything USA. So today I thought I'd visit the topic of fixer-uppers. A lot of people underestimate how much trouble they are and how much these things can cost. Even today I had to, I kind of caught myself. I went after a property, thought was going to be a pretty good deal at $300,000. Got there, it wasn't. And I have a high standard for what's a good deal. I like to get everything about 30% under market. Well, I got there, and this thing, it needed probably a good 40,000 more than I expected. So I went ahead and told him, yeah, look, I'm going to readjust my bid, 60,000 less than what I had previously offered, sight unseen. And of course, one person was a little disappointed, but and I was disappointed more than anybody because I haven't had anything for a while. I've been, taking care of all the, and I got to say, I'm 100% occupied. That's on 185,000 square feet of property, so I'm actually very, very pleased that I'm 100% occupied. But hey, Coach, how you doing, buddy? So anyways, but this is a trap a lot of people fall into, and they underestimate the cost. They don't count the time that's involved. So we're going to talk about that stuff, and we'll be right back. You want to learn how to make millions of dollars in real estate? I've made tens of millions over my lifetime, and I'm showing people how to do it. Get in my free webinar. I have it every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Go to the link below, flipanythingusa.com/webinar. Sign up for it. You can talk to me face-to-face if you want. Don't waste any time. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. You don't want to miss my channel. I've been doing it for years. All right. So anyways, topic here is, fixer-uppers and don't underestimate. I did a video on Stephen, what is his name? I forget. I can't remember now. Stephen Cornelia. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, nice guy, good guy, got way over his head. He bought out of town too. That's another thing. When you're going to buy a fixer-upper, you don't want to buy something that's out of town, out of reach, because then you're dependent on other people to take care of things for you. Hey, if you just got here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. But what I can tell you is it's really easy to underestimate those things that are out there. So give you an example. It costs about almost double right now what it used to cost, say even from 5 years ago. You got a bathroom. You're going to replace the tile. You're going to replace the tub, or you're going to maybe just do a whole tile the whole thing. You'll spend at least $6,000. On a decent tile job for a bathroom. That's just a medium, an average bathroom, really. Your carpet, your flooring's going to be probably $8,000 for, 1,700 square foot house. These things get overlooked at just how expensive it is. You got paneling to pull off sometimes, replace that with sheetrock. Everything is just considerably more expensive. And so when you run through and start doing your figures on what your things are going to cost, just round up 25%. It's the safest thing you can do, and sometimes it'll actually even cost you that much. There's just some things a little bit hidden. Look, I'm a pretty talented carpenter and been around real estate forever as a general builder and cabinet maker in general, and so I catch most things. I crawled through this attic, and it was hot today. I crawled through this attic, and they had AC units in every window in this house. I don't think the air conditioners worked in probably 15 years. And, when I went up there, I had to go up in the attic, and the attic had boxes, and there was just so much garbage in the attic that it took a little while digging through to even figure out where the forced air unit. I thought the forced air unit was hidden in the attic somewhere. And what I ended up finding out is I found the plenum box, and then I go, okay, there it is. And below the plenum box, sure enough, I found it. They had enclosed the garage at one time, so the doors were gone. They framed that in. They tore out, they actually framed a couple of rooms within what would have been the old garage, had a kind of a funky hallway. And so for me, it's like a labyrinth. There's probably 8 or 9 rooms in a I guess it's about a 2,300 square foot house. And, what I'll be doing is when I go in there, I'll be ripping out all the added divider walls where they kind of made these sub rooms within the house. For sure, I might as well plan on re-sheetrocking the entire place, scraping the popcorn off the ceiling, and but all that stuff costs money, and a lot of people don't catch that stuff. And you guys, so good. We got some comments in here. Like your advice, some of the best ones to look for are the ones that don't need much work. Yeah, so everybody assumes I love to do fixer-uppers, but it's actually the opposite of that. I don't like doing fixer-uppers at all. In fact, there's nothing I like better than buying a house that was updated 10 or 15 years earlier. I don't, even if it's 25 years, you got Formica countertops. If they took care of the place, awesome. I'll just clean it, polish it up, sell it as is. But some people feel inclined to go in and just rip everything out. It's very expensive. Countertops for just a moderate kitchen are going to be $5,000. And then if you're going to do that, now you got sink, garbage disposal. You got to replumb everything up underneath. You're going to change all the valve stops throughout the house. I mean, that's just normal working for me, is go through and pull all the valve stops and replace all those. Even if they kind of look halfway good, just get rid of them. Because you don't want to flood. You don't want any of the issues. You don't want anybody to have a problem after you either. But the best thing is if you come into a house that's been cared for, and the people, maybe somebody, and I bought a lot of houses where the people, it's the first home they bought, and it's the last home they're going to own. They retire out of it. But attics, by the way, look in the attics. I've done a few stories on attics. I found a steamer chest as big as my desk here, full of love letters, books, Little Black Sambo, Little Brown Cocoa, books that aren't even in print anymore, books from the 1800s, Disney books, all kinds of stuff in there. But back to the main subject here is before you commit, don't just, and some of you guys are handy, right? And you think, I can do that. Well, I can do that. And a lot of you guys that think you're handy, you still can't beat what it costs. And and a lot of you don't understand or appreciate that time is money. And if you got a house, you're going to do everything yourself. Well, the problem with that is it's going to take you 5 times longer. Where I stack them in. I go in, when I go into a house, here's my typical policy. If I'm going to, whether I replace the kitchen or not, I go in, rip everything loose that's out. I'll take the base out, scrape the popcorn off the ceiling, take the, all the grills off the, if I want to move fast, throw all that in a bucket, throw water in that, let that stuff soak, go in and, if the cabinets are coming out, just rip them all out. If they're going to stay, then I'll keep them. I may move a wall, or I may cut an opening, make the kitchen open to the living room. That's kind of a popular thing. So I'll figure out how I can rework the cabinets in such a way that maybe I can open up the kitchen to the living area. That's always a good move, in my opinion. And then just make it as big feeling as possible. What else? Garage doors, unless they're rotten, I'll let them stay. But we'll do what we got to do to take care of those. And garage door openers now are probably about, $600-800 a piece for an average one. And generally, after scraping everything out of the house, then we'll go back in. We'll do all the texture everything, patch everything. Go in there and just blow texture through the whole house. Paint it up, and because you want to do it as fast as you can, because you're right now you're racing a declining market, and anybody that argues with that, I'd be happy to talk to you about it. But the market is certainly declining, and when the interest rates go up, and I think they will jump up again, at least an eighth, maybe a quarter coming, and it's going to be even that much harsher, that much harder, and you can buy real estate anytime. Some people say, sit on your hands for 2 years. That's ridiculous. You never want to sit on your hands. You just don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to buy anything at market. You can't buy at market. If you're speculating the values are going up, you're really crazy right now. What you need to do is understand that values are dropping, and so you have to buy far enough under market that that even while they're dropping, you have time to buy it, flip it before those lines cross. And so that's the thing that's important. You have just a real hefty delta, to make some money in there. So what else you got out there? Best place to put your money in a remodel is kitchen. It's the most expensive place. In all honesty, I stretch there's a lot of kitchens, and Liam, he's probably not in here right now, but Liam's seen plenty of kitchens I've redone, and you'll see me just scrape and paint. It costs you $1,200 just to paint an average set of cabinets too, but that's a hell of a lot less than replacing the cabinets and the downtime associated with that too. And then for sure you got to replace the countertops then. But I've gone in, I've painted cabinets and put in new countertops. A lot of people are pretty accepting of painted cabinets. A lot of people prefer them now. I still like wood. I'm putting in new cabinets in one of my jobs, and they're going to be really nice ones actually. I'll probably spend, I don't know, it's not that big a kitchen or big a house. I mean, it's 2,600 square feet, but that one I'm actually really, really doing right. That one's going to get all Bosch appliances. I was actually looking at Gaggenau and Thermador and Wolf. Wolf actually, and here's something to think about too. On appliances, I just bring this up. Hey, Liam, just mentioned you. So I'm looking at Bosch, and a 36-inch range is going to be $6,000. The hood, and here's something about hoods. A quality hood, they're not cheap. Zephyr makes some decent ones, but if you get one, like Bosch or Wolf or Miele, M-E-I-E-L-E, which is a beautiful product, but it's quite expensive, and it's not always. It's reliable, but it's not always reliable. So always listen to the people. When you go to find a high-end. A high-end appliance store, and believe me, I'm not talking about anything you're going to find in Home Depot or any of that. There's stores that are high-end appliances. You find them in like the industrial areas. I found a beautiful showroom. They must have had 5,000 square feet, and I mean, we're talking, super, super high-end. We had Sub-Zeros, Thermador, Bosch, and they have everything. They have refrigerators and all that stuff. Some $14,000 refrigerators. As it is, I'll probably spend 10 on the one I'm going to get. It's going to be a 42-inch Bosch. Having the water dispenser and the ice in the door, those aren't usually common with flush mount, and I'm talking about cabinet depth refrigerators. It's what I always prefer. If you guys have watched me any amount of time here, you know that what I often do is in a small kitchen, I'll buy a counter depth fridge. The other ones, most fridges are, like 28 to 30 inches deep, and they just protrude out. And if it's a little kitchen, it just feels that much more cramped. You buy a new one that's 24, 25 inches deep, sets nice and flush. They don't hold anything, okay? They don't hold very much, but they look great, and it makes it better for selling. Don wrote, being inexperienced, I'm going to take longer, so I need more time and way lower price. Yeah, it's always safe. Listen, just keep your standards high for profit. Make sure you got a big margin in there for mistakes and for making money. Hey, Andrew, glad you're in here. Grandpa gave me, do you think there's money in manufactured homes? There's money in everything. Everything's got value. You just got to make sure. And if you got it for free, then that's simple. Parker wrote, Tom, can you talk about shopping subs? 3 different painters give you a quote. Who are you going with? Should they be insured? Andrew, okay, he's answering it. Yeah, so look, I'll tell you about painters. If you're new, I can tell you a couple of nightmare painter stories. A couple of painters came in and they were using, whatever, not mineral spirits, but I can't even think of it now, but the flammable stuff that we all have. Somebody help me out here. Not acetone, but something similar. And well, these guys came in, and this is a pretty terrible story, actually, because they both got burned terribly. And they went in there, and they had those rags, and they're wiping things down, and they're moving around throughout the place. And they didn't realize it, but there was a pilot light. Everything was off, but there was a pilot light going. And one way or another, those fumes lit off and blew. And next thing you know, you had a painter on fire. Painter was on fire. Well, the other painter ran over to help him. And as soon as he started putting him out, poof, they were both in flames because they both had been using acetone or whatever, prepping what they were prepping. And then I got there late, but somebody else got in there, and they basically knocked these guys down and put them out, but they got severely burned. And so you in that situation, you really would want to have insurance. Okay, lacquer thinner. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. So you really, and I, as a sub, I was, I'm a general contractor, but just mostly just for my own stuff. I built custom homes and stuff a long time ago. But I had a C6 millwork, so a cabinet maker, had a big cabinet shop and did real well at that for a while. And I would go in to jobs sometimes where people, cabinet makers, there's like one on every street, or when I was younger, a guy would start a business and start building out of his garage. And you really got to know what you're doing. And one of the reasons I did really well, I was a successful cabinet maker, is because I could draw a whole set of cabinets, mini sets of cabinets. I would have everything cut up and stacked. In other words, kitchen cabinets, when you put them all together, they're full of airspace, right? They're cupboards. That's why they're full of air. And so the inexperienced cabinet makers, or the not so good ones, they would build all their cabinets, and then they would sit there, and then they would make their doors after, or they would order their doors from a door manufacturer. So they're taking up a bunch of space in their shop they don't need to have taken up. Then the other thing is they can't be on time, where they didn't have confidence in their numbers. I have confidence in my math. So everything I would make and draw, I would get things, this is when I was drawing by hand a long time ago, I'd get everything built, my cut list, everything would be cut and stacked. So I could have, a kitchen that would stack, in maybe the size of two large desks, okay, for like an average house, because it's just plywood and hardwood stacked up. But when you put it together, it'll take a whole garage, right? But it doesn't take so much space when it's broke down. And so I would have that, and then doors, I would order my doors out. My doors would come in, packed tight, wrapped tight, everything's sitting there. And now when I know that there's sheetrock in that house and they're going to blow texture, I'm coming in right behind them with cabinets. As soon as the texture's on the wall, I'm in there putting in cabinets. And so the builders love me because I was so quick and so prompt. A lot of guys, they don't even, I'm measuring before there's sheetrock and all that sort of thing. Other cabinet guys, they go in and they're measuring only after the sheetrock's up. So they're just starting the job. I've already got the job done. I'm completely done. So the moment the walls are up, the texture's on, cabinets go in, and I'm putting them together just days before. And now I fill my shop up, and as soon as the shop's filled up, goes on a trailer, goes straight out. Shop's empty as fast as it became full. And then it's done, and I'm getting a check. But I saw terrible cabinet makers that I'd come in, and I remember this lady was in tears, went out to her house, and actually one of my competitors went out to the house, and we were bidding against each other on this thing. But we both had gone out there and bid this separately, but came out, and there was a cabinet door on the floor, and I go to stand it up. And as I stand it up, it hits the ceiling. In other words, this guy was so off, he ordered cabinet doors that were literally taller than the ceiling. And there's nothing you can do with that door. There's no way to use it. You can't even utilize it. These are raised panels and a lot of work and how they're cut up. Finished carpentry takes the best skill. Yeah, it's just tolerances. There's great, fantastic carpenters. People just got to, I've owned a cabinet shop and I've owned machine shop. Machine shop, tolerances are, just everything's got to be super tight. And for wood, for finished carpentry wood, that's kind of how, cabinets are like the machine shop of carpentry, you know what I mean? It's the finest, tolerance. There's no rounding off to a 16th and that sort of thing. Everything's got to be very, very clean and neat. Coach Kenny, hey Tom, with your flips, do deal with one bank or several? Well, Kenny, fortunately for me, I don't have to deal with any. The stuff, any of the houses, I pay cash for houses, and then I just, I turn them. The days of borrowing money for houses for me have been long gone, long time ago. I've got enough assets now. I just, if I'm short on money, I have a line of credit on, something big that I can always draw on and pay cash for, a few houses. And I'm checking on something here. Sorry. Actually, I got some good news today, by the way. So I have property. I'll show you this property, too. So I have a property I bought a little over a year ago. And anyways, the gist of this is I bought 5.8 acres for $2.5 million, and I just sold about 60% of it. I sold 3 of the 5.8 acres. I just sold them for, I have them, I shouldn't say I have them sold. I've got a contract on them. I believe it's going to close. But I sold basically 60% of it for just about 2.4. So in the end on this, I'm going to make, basically, what I did is I put $600,000 down. So I got a $1.8 million balance on this 5.8 acres. And now I've sold 60% of it. There's 2 parcels, but I sold the three acres for I think it's just under 2.4. I think it's $2,380,000. So when that closes, I'm left with the remainder, which is 2 acres worth about $700,000, and it cost me $120,000. Carrying fees, taxes. I probably got another $100,000 in there. So now I've got basically my profit on this thing is a $220,000, a $700,000 lot that cost me $220,000. So I'm very happy today. I mean, this is it's looking to be like a pretty sure thing. So you can make money doing a lot of different things, but you really got to know value. You really got to know value. So many people don't, and the worst thing that happens is get yourself in a jam that'll ball you up for the next 10 years, especially now because things are declining. So listen. A lot of people say don't do anything. If you don't know what you're doing, you probably shouldn't do anything, because there's a lot of people get taken with bad advice and bad guru, bad mentorships, and so it can be a double whammy, because maybe you lose $1,000 or $10,000 by paying for a bad mentor. But what's worse is if you take that guy's advice and you throw yourself into a $500,000 or $1 million deal, and now you're upside down another $200,000. So these things can really, really be seriously bad for you if you make a big mistake. So Carlos wrote, talking about wood, Home Depot is having some cheap plywood. That's nice to hear. That's nice to know. Yeah, I think you're going to see all the materials drop. Unless we have a storm, storms will come through, and then all of a sudden there'll be a heavy demand on plywood and all this. Florida gets wiped out, or Houston gets wiped out, and all the plywood in the USA goes that direction, and the values, they start charging an arm and a leg for it. But so what else you guys want to talk about? I mean, but I would just really cautious you guys on the fixer-upper aspect, and like the sub-2 stuff, the sub-2, look, the very first property I bought in my life, very first one when I was 19, was basically a sub-2. It was a wraparound, had 4 notes wrapped with another. They call that a AITD, all-inclusive trust deed. Hey, Russ, how you doing? I just saw your text, Russ. I'm going to go grab some wine here with a buddy of mine. Actually, he's my partner on that acreage. And so we're going to have a drink and probably celebrate a little earlier than we should. But that's what's happening there. But I got to run. So, hey, if you just got here, hey, get my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It's been a bestseller on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. And be sure to... hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I promise you learn a lot. Go watch my old videos. Been doing this a long time. Got a mentorship. Got some of the brightest students, and there a bunch of them are in here. Many of them are millionaires, half millionaires. A lot of good stuff going on here, at Flip Anything USA. So I'm going to go. Thanks for watching. See everybody in class tomorrow, 10 a.m. tomorrow. Regular Zoom webinar, not webinar, Zoom meeting for the members. Also, I'm tired. If you don't know, it's hotter than hell here outside. It's nice here. But so I'll see members in class tomorrow, and everybody else following. I appreciate your subscribership, and we'll talk to you soon.